to bring in another guest of sorts now, although not live on the show. But this range of clips that we have from Mark Warner, Democrat Mark Warner, is absolutely extraordinary. And I just thought, given the last two segments about the CCP and all this, we've got to show you guys how this isn't just a single party issue. This isn't just confined to the lunatics down here in the War Room, or to President Trump and his team. This is bigger and beyond that. You saw that yesterday, what we talked about with Mike Pompeo going across and solidifying, putting into place this alliance of liberty around the world and gathering together people from all around the world to see down the CCP here. It's also happening in terms of crossing party lines. So let's hear from a Democrat on this. Let's roll these tapes.
But I can tell you, for the last 2 years, I and other members of the Intel Committee have been holding classified briefings with business leaders and academic leaders about the concerted efforts of the Chinese Communist Party to steal our intellectual property, to steal it from companies, to steal it from universities, to be on better guard and greater guard. The fact that many of the Chinese tech companies are, in effect, arms of the Chinese state. And I think, without getting into the specifics, I think the FBI action is appropriate. And I think companies need to acknowledge that doing business with a lot of these Chinese firms, do it at your own risk. And the idea that they're going to sacrifice our values and principles to try to get access to the Chinese market is going to come back and bite them. Let me be clear. My concern is not with China, not with Chinese, obviously not. And one of the things that this president always mistakes is, making inappropriate comments about Chinese Americans. My problem is with the Communist Party of China, President Xi Jinping, and their effort to turn their business entities into agents of the state, their ability to create a surveillance state with technology, that what they've done to the Uyghurs in China, what they're trying to do now to the people of Hong Kong, and the fact that they use students as agents, they use companies as agents, and I know there will be some reaction from China, but this is in our national security interest, and more American businesses and universities need to acknowledge, recognize, and guard against this problem.
Senator, is there anything TikTok could do to make you feel better about having that app on the phones of American citizens?
Chuck, my daughters are a little bit older than I think your kids, but I wouldn't want TikTok on any of my devices. Mm-hmm. And there is, TikTok is a component of ByteDance. There is some efforts from some of the American investors to try to separate the enterprises. I'm open to see how they want to do that separation, but if the basic intellectual capital and the basic programming is still potentially at the whim of Communist Party functionaries in China, I would be pretty nervous about what you do.
Now, Mark Warner is no low-level Democrat. Mark Warner is he was the keynote address at the 2008 Democrat conference. He's a senator. He's been the governor of Virginia. He's been the vice chair of the Senate Democrat Caucus, the vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee. This is a senior member of the Democratic Party, and I get it. He has to throw meat to MSNBC. Oh, the president's insulted Chinese Americans. The president's never done that, but he's on MSNBC. He has to throw that out. But then listen to the signal that's coming out of Mark Warner there. The signal is the CCP and all of its apparatus. I want to bring in Jack Posobiec and also Governor Greitens. Governor Greitens, what your reaction to what Senator Warner said there?
Well, first of all, it's a good thing, right? So one of the things that held the country together during the Cold War is that you had Republicans and Democrats, a lot of whom were veterans of World War II, who were willing to put the country first. And yeah, there was always going to be internal divisions, but we should be able to agree. There should be, we'd hope, a sensible wing of the Democratic Party which would recognize that the Chinese Communist Party actually represents a threat. And it's good to see a senior member of the Democratic Party coming out and saying this and being able to get on the same page.
Jack Posobiec and then Steve Bannon. And then Jack next.
Yeah, just throw out that there were a lot of Democrats, senior-level Democrats, who actually used to be quite good on China. Nancy Pelosi used to be someone who would go over there, who would talk about the victims of Tiananmen, who would talk about the human rights record. She would talk about Tibet, endlessly speak about Tibet. Hillary Clinton, when she was first lady, famously went over there and talked about human rights and women's rights in China. So this used to be something that we, as a country, as the foremost leader of the free world